Tania sat on the sofa, lost in thoughts. The interview she attended earlier at thecompany was all she could think about. She had been job hunting for months without any positive results. This time, she had to drop her CV to settle for any available position, since she was told that there is no vacancy for her field at the moment. Her flatmate, Flora, walked in carrying a bag of groceries. "How did it go, Tania?" she asked, as she settled on the sofa. Tania took a deep breath. "Still the same thing. They said there is no vacancy for my field at the moment, but I just had to drop my CV. Whatever position they can offer me, I will take it, even if it's a receptionist position," she lamented. "Come on, Tania. You studied engineering. You should be in a better office," Flora mentioned. "But I'm tired of borrowing money. Flora, I'm tired of skipping meals just to manage up." "I understand. But Tania, you still need to be positive," Flora encouraged. The next Monday, Tania was already seated in the admin's office at the telecom company. The admin officer took some time before attending to Tania. "Miss Tania, like we said earlier, the company does not need staff presently, but since you said you wouldn't mind any position, the CEO requests you to be working directly with him." Tania's face beamed with joy. Immediately, the admin officer directed someone to show Tania her office. It all looked and sounded unbelievable. Getting to Tania's office, the young woman addressed her. "Miss Tania, presently the CEO is not around, but he already instructed that you start coming to work henceforth." Tania nodded in agreement. She turned around, appreciating her office. In few hours, Tania was already home, giving Flora the feedback. "I never knew the company is as big as that. It really has a modern touch. I still can't believe that I've been employed." "I think the company is way bigger than you think," Flora said. "I've heard a lot about them. Finally, we will stop worrying about house rent," Flora teased. "You don't know how happy I am," Tania said. Few weeks after, the CEO is yet to return from his business trip. But it's the end of the month. Tania was paid by the company, just like every other staff. She already has so many loans on her, so she had to use some of the salary to pay some of the loans. In few days, Tania got a message that the CEO was back. She was filled with so much anxiety to meet the CEO. So the next day, she was up early to resume work. As at 12 p.m., Tania's anxiety grew more because the CEO is yet to appear at the company. About 3 p.m., Tania got a message that the CEO requested her to join him for a meeting at a conference hall. She quickly made her way down. On getting there, she finally met with the CEO. She was a bit confused because she thought she would be working as his PA, but obviously, he already has a personal assistant. After the meeting, the CEO instructed Tania to always resume to her office, that he would always send for her whenever the need be. The next week, Tania got a message to meet with the CEO again. This time, when she got to the venue, she was directed to his room at the upper floor. When she got there, the CEO made her realize that he wanted an intimate with her. Tania was shocked. She was embarrassed. She only stood staring. She didn't know what to say. Look, Tania, it's obvious that there is no vacant position here, and this is all you can do to help yourself. I only asked for intimate, not like I want to chop off your head, he said arrogantly. Gently, Tania picked a bag and muttered, I'm sorry, sir. I can't do this. The CEO looked so unbothered. He simply focused on his drink and phone, while Tania left the hotel room. When Tania got home, she wept so much. She couldn't tell Flora because she couldn't afford to disappoint her. Flora had been the one paying for their rent and taking care of their feeding. The house rent will be due in no time. Tania already promised to take care of it this time from her salary. She thought about the couple of loans still left unsettled. At the thought of all this, she knew she had no option than to give in to the CEO's request. The next day, she went back to the CEO at the office and apologized. So, the CEO fixed a time for her to come meet him at the hotel room. After giving in to the CEO's request, the time was already 8 p.m. Tania dressed up and left the hotel room. In about an hour, she was already home. She promised to keep everything to herself and never to tell Flora about it. Flora opened Tania's bedroom. She could see that she was ready to go to bed. You came late from office today. Any problem? Not at all. I was swamped with work. Flora didn't want to disturb her, so she said goodnight and left her room. Tania stared at the mirror and reflected on everything that happened between her and the CEO. She shut her eyes, stood up and went to bed. For several months, Tania had nothing she attended to in the company. She would resume to her office every morning, while she went to the CEO's hotel room whenever he requested her to come around. Tania was dying in silence. She was a brilliant graduate. She wanted a life to explore her potentials. But she only saw herself being used as a prostitute. Yet, she couldn't tell no one. So many a times, she wanted to opt out. But she had no other job to fall back at. Secretly, she began to search for a job again. The CEO's demand was getting too much. Unlike their usual way of meeting, he began to request that Tania spend the whole night with him. This was totally inconvenient for Tania, but she had no option. Flora would question Tania each time she didn't sleep at home. But she tried to make excuses, and Flora never suspected. Tania was enduring everything until one day. Tania wasn't paid her salary, so she complained to the CEO. The CEO promised she would get her salary later in the week, so he requested that they meet at the hotel room as usual. After meeting, they held their usual intimate together. The CEO told Tania that he would send her salary that night, but she has one more duty to do. He sent Tania to one of his friends, who was already waiting in another room in the same hotel. Tania felt really bad. She felt really dirty, but she knew her salary was at stake if she turned down the CEO's request. This time, their house rent was already due. So, she was left with no option. Tania went to CEO's friend's room, and then she had intimate with him. Afterwards, she felt really traumatized. She felt like sharing it with someone, but she was too ashamed to tell Flora. Few days after, it was weekend, and Tania was still in bed when Flora ran into Tania's bedroom to break her a bad news. "Tania, wake up. Is this not your boss? Your CEO?" Tania jumped up to see the news. The CEO had an accident the previous night and passed away. He was a very famous CEO, so the media was quick to pick the news. At this point, Tania couldn't hold her emotions any longer. She sat Flora down and narrated all she had been going through in the hands of the CEO. Flora felt really sorry for Tania. Just as she was consoling her, a message came in her email. It was an innovation she attended some months back. She was selected with few others and sponsored for a training abroad with automatic employment. For Tania, it was a real dream come true. No matter the rough road you pass through, dream and do not ever give up.